following training is sponsored by the Niagara Library System. We serve our member libraries in Niagara, Orleans, and Genesee counties. You can always visit our main web page listed here at niagara.org, or certainly visit your local library homepage and use your library card to get access to streaming videos, downloadable music, audiobooks, ebooks, and even more from the comfort of your own home. Thank you. Okay, so we're going to do a whole soft skills series based on my original video that I had talked about and was talking about different tips and tricks and things you can do for your own videos. I've seen quite a bit of content that's gone out, and it's all been very engaging in that, so you're doing a really great job, everybody. Kudos. So for communication in my video, I had said this about communication and content. Communication skills to speak clearly and smile. Not only does it make you look better, but you can hear it in your voice as you speak. Try to quit looking directly or at yourself on the screen. Your eyes should be either on the camera or on your script. Lighting, stronger, of course, indirect lighting is best. That's why natural light is always recommended. And I remember saying the first Loom video I did, I actually had the light like pointed directly at me, so I had this big spot on my head, which was kind of funny. But right now, and even now, I have a little desk light with a 40-watt bulb. It's pointing up towards the ceiling, and it seems to do the trick. And do watch your background. I have actually changed and fixed the background. These were just curtains I got at the dollar store with a little $5 rod hanging up, and that's it. So hopefully it looks better than some of my first videos. But you know, like I said, the more mistakes you make, the further you can show your progress. So Zoe B writes an article for Lifehack, and she talks about one of the most important and yet overlooked skills of communicating is this, and that is to be a good listener. That's right, most people have no idea that listening is a necessary part of communication process, but the reality is that listening is an essential part of communication. Not only does it help you to build rapport with other people, but it's also a way of demonstrating respect for others. When people feel respected, it's very easy to build long and happy relationships. Think about how great it feels when someone is intently listening to you and those times when they are completely enthralled with what you are saying. This makes you feel valued and does wonders to aid communication. People just want to be heard. So by listening intently, you can build trust at the subconscious level. Look at it the other way around. We all know people who are bad listeners. They love the sound of their own voices. I worry about that sometimes. And you can't get a word in edgewise. When it's finally your turn to talk, they aren't really listening. In contrast, so how does that make you feel? Frustrated, of low value, by not listening to you, the other person is essentially telling you that you don't have anything worth saying. And I have constantly remembered, or it's been brought to mind, the Pulp Fiction scene. And you can see here on the screen Uma Thurman as Mia Wallace in Pulp Fiction. And her question here to the character was, in conversation, do you listen or wait to talk? And for me, it has taken me an embarrassingly long time to really listen versus trying to prove a point, win an argument, or just get a gotcha moment. Um, but back to Zoe B at Lifehack. Why are people such bad listeners? One reason is that we think at a speed that's much faster than we speak. Research has shown that we talk at about 120 to 150 words per minute, yet we think at a rate of 600 to 800 words a minute. What that means is it's much easier to get distracted by our inner thoughts when people speak to us because our minds work generally faster than our mouths. Sometimes my mouth works faster than my mind. It happens, you know, from time to time. But 5 good ways to improve your communication skills. Try to never talk over people. This does demonstrate a real lack of respect. By talking over someone, what you're basically saying is, I don't care what you're saying, and what I have to say is more important. Don't finish other people's sentences. Ooh, had to learn this one. And she says, as Zoe B mentions, I used to do this a lot, thinking I was helpfully finishing other people's sentences for them. Wrong. Research has shown by doing this, you are disempowering the other person. Very true, because you are taking control of the conversation. So bite your tongue. One of the things, again, that I have found, especially even when making videos, when I'm tempted to go, or huh, is I try and actually keep my teeth together. I concentrate on that to keep my mouth shut. So um, sometimes that pulls me away from my smile, so you got to watch what you do. But do paraphrase. If you want to show that you've really understood someone, then paraphrasing can be a great tool. All you do is repeat back to someone what they have just said before you comment yourself. So she says, the Zoe B says, so here's an example. So Barney, what I'm hearing is that the results are the number one objective for you right now, and we need to find some fast solutions for you. It's not copying as my little picture here shows. Active listening, listening actively. Focus on active listening instead of passive listening. Um, the difference is that active listening means you engage and respond to the other person based on what they have said. Passive listening is simply the act of listening with no response. This gets very difficult because then how do you listen? How do you not talk over someone? How do you not disempower someone? A lot of active listening, I think, is the nonverbal communication. It's the eyes, it's the nods, it's the movement of the eyebrows on your face, it's where your face is pointing. Um, and I think this is one reason why telephone conference calls are so very difficult, and why, with all of the stuff that we can do on the internet, video conferencing is secondary to in-person meetings. So if you can't meet in person, most people have tried to do video conferencing, um, and even to cut down on traveling and to help with expenses and things like that. In person is always the best. It's the easiest. It's the way human beings were really built to communicate. But if we can't do in person for whatever the reason, the video conferencing seems to work second best. Telephone is kind of a distant third. So um, do maintain eye contact, but we don't want it to be like, creepy stuff like over here, okay? We want to keep people a little more happy. But by looking the other person in the eye, and this is again too culturally appropriate, you are proving that you're interested in what they're saying, and this also keeps you focused and less distracted, which is why too, talking to a camera can be a little strange at first, and it does take practice. Um, but yeah, try not to be too direct. Gets a little creepy, but that's all right. So, as an interesting kind of side note or end note here, I did find this picture example of different things that eye movements mean. And I just thought that was kind of cool. So, thank you, and we'll see you in the next video.